Breaking right now, even Netflix have turned on Harry and Meghan. They have been roasted at the streaming network's official bash by the comedian John Mulaney. But this is really significant, actually, because it does suggest that even the streaming company that backed them for success, that paid them $100 million, knows that they are dealing with the biggest flop in entertainment. Let me take you through this story right now. So, Deadline reports Prince Harry and Meghan Markle weren't present at Netflix's annual programming event, but the royal pair did catch some strays. John Mulaney, who is returning to the streamer with a new live variety talk show, as in he's their big new star, took aim at the Montecito residents as he was promoting the show. Not since Harry and Meghan has Netflix given more money to someone without a specific plan, he joked. Now, the Daily Mail had a lot more on what went on during this event, and it really is worth looking into it. So they say there were clips of colourful documentaries starring Victoria Beckham, Eddie Murphy, and former President Barack Obama. They were featured prominently. Yet one of Netflix's best-known collaborators, the Duchess of Sussex, was barely mentioned at the event, even though her lifestyle show With Love Meghan is due to be released in March. Worse, in another sign that America is falling out of love with the royal couple, a leading comedian at the event made Harry and Meghan's filmmaking record the butt of a dismissive joke. Now, they then say that the audience, and this was a very Hollywood audience, a Netflix audience, responded with snickering and a few woes. A source in the auditorium, who was obviously in the entertainment industry, told the Daily Mail, "It was shocking to me that Netflix would seemingly allow Harry and Meghan to be ridiculed at such a prestigious event. The head honchos were all there. And how strange that a show by the couple who signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix barely featured, apart from one brief clip in a montage. Even filmmaker Tyler Perry, the guy who loaned his LA house to the Sussexes after Megxit, got a mention. It really felt like Netflix didn't give a damn."
You heard that right. Even Netflix, the same company that signed them to a $100 million deal, is mocking Harry and Meghan at their own prestigious event. John Mulaney, Netflix's new star comedian, ripped into them with this joke. Not since Harry and Meghan has Netflix given more money to someone without a specific plan. Let that sink in for a second. That's not some tabloid headline. That's an official Netflix event with their top executives in the room, and they're basically admitting, yeah, we wasted money on these two. Now, why is this significant? Because Netflix isn't just some random company. They're the only major platform that gave Meghan and Harry real money and a chance to prove themselves. And what did the Sussexes do with that opportunity? A couple of mediocre documentaries and a flopped podcast. Now here's the kicker. Meghan and Harry weren't even at the event. You'd think if you had a major show dropping in a few months, you'd show up, right? Wrong. They were nowhere to be seen, and worse, no one at Netflix even cared.
Royal News Network posted on this. Ouch. This is a really fun experiment. Not since Harry and Meghan has Netflix given more money to someone without a specific plan. Harry and Meghan, the butt of jokes at Netflix event where Meghan's new show hardly featured. So Angela Levin, our royal mastermind, Prince Harry's biographer, surely this is the moment for Harry and Meghan to press the panic button, because whether they want to believe it or not, Netflix has turned.
Yeah, they need two panic buttons, one for Netflix and one if Trump decides that he will want the documents opened and to see if Harry lied about his...
Very good point. Well, look, let's come to that shortly because there's new developments on that. But let's tackle the Netflix thing first, because remember, Netflix is paying them more money than anyone else.
Yes, well, they've just given them money, and I think Meghan is so demanding, and I mean, you have to think that she's very, very powerful like that she goes on, and I know she's doing that at the moment, that she demands more money, and she demands that they help her do her best. But really, I think she just goes ahead without too much thinking and certainly not much listening. And if something's wrong, she just screams and shouts, but she won't let this go, because this could possibly be the last thing that they do for Netflix, because in September it might be the end. It is the end of this agreement, and it just depends whether they would be interested in doing another one. I mean, because they're no longer popular at all, really, it's gone absolutely through the drains. They might not want to do it.
And the thing is, Meghan tried everything, didn't she? She even befriended Ted Sarandos, the boss of Netflix. And I think she did so in a very, how do I put it? Manipulative manner, Angela, because the way that she befriended Ted Sarandos was by really tapping into the fact that he has a mixed race partner. So it was like, oh, there's something similar about us. Let's go to the Beyonce concert together. But I think even Ted Sarandos now knows that Harry and Meghan are deeply unpopular. And he has conceded in the past that really the only people who watch their show are watching to poke fun or laugh or hate them, which is exactly the way that Harry and Meghan were used at the Netflix event. And I mean, how embarrassing for them that Victoria Beckham, a woman who they consider below them, a woman who they fell out with, Angela Levin, because they believed that Victoria Beckham was leaking stories about them to the British media, which is so ironic given that that's all Harry and Meghan do, leak stories to the American media. How embarrassing for them that at this Netflix programming event, her documentary series was considered far, far more appealing to journalists and to advertisers and to the influential figures in the room than Meghan's series.
Their upcoming project with Love, Meghan is supposedly releasing in March. But at this big event where Netflix showcases its biggest stars? Crickets. No major announcement, no hype, not even a quick shout out. Instead, Netflix was busy promoting, wait for it, Victoria Beckham's new documentary. Yup. The same Victoria Beckham who used to be part of Harry and Meghan's A-list circle. Talk about awkward. So what does this tell us? It tells us that Netflix is pivoting away from the Sussexes. Their star power is fading fast, and even the executives who wrote them those fat checks are starting to realize they bet on the wrong horse. Now let's talk about that savage joke from John Mulaney, because this wasn't just some offhand comment. This was a targeted roast, and the fact that it happened at a Netflix event speaks volumes. Mulaney said, "Not since Harry and Meghan has Netflix given more money to someone without a specific plan." And what's even more telling is how the audience reacted. According to reports, there were snickers, awkward laughter, and even some gasps. This wasn't just a joke, it was a Hollywood reality check. Think about it. Netflix would never allow one of their comedians to roast a cash cow like this if Harry and Meghan were still valuable to them. You don't see anyone joking about Stranger Things or Bridgerton, right? Because those shows make money. Harry and Meghan, they're just a punchline now.
Well, the thing is, I think that you can feel that Meghan is phony and it's really all about her. Whereas the others, you can feel that it's very alive, and you can feel the attitude they are towards each other, good, better, not so good, and you can feel all the experiences that they're talking about, which you can't really do with Meghan. I think she can't. She wants to be so good and the best of anyone in the whole world that she doesn't really allow herself to be real in those circumstances. It's all, this is what I'm doing, and now I've got a friend here and a giggle. It's just not well planned, really, and it doesn't go smoothly. It's like you're having an awkward chat with someone, and you don't quite know what to say next, but you keep on trying. And it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to enjoy something like that.
It is incredibly difficult. And the thing is, if they had any belief in this With Love Meghan, this was the moment to promote it. It's had all of this negative publicity because it's had to be pushed back because of the LA wildfires disaster tourism undertaken by Harry and Meghan. So this was an opportunity to try and turn it around. But just like with Polo, Angela, Netflix is saying, no, we're too embarrassed. I mean, they didn't promote Polo really at all. And now they're doing the same thing with this.
Well, I think this when they had the initial thing of just showing you what it might be like, it was so terrible, and people found it so phony and embarrassing that they would think, well, we really can't do that again. I think with Polo, I mean, Meghan didn't want much money spent on publicity because she wanted it saved for hers. And so Harry, of course, agreed, and there wasn't much in it. But I remember you and I watching it, it was the most boring thing you could ever find. Just men hitting balls and women being very sort of old fashioned women who did exactly what they were told and was of a type. It was just incredibly boring. It wasn't exciting. You hitting something this way and that way, and that's it. I mean, if you really, really like it, that's different, but you didn't get that impression. Um, so I think that was the problem with that.
Exactly. And
And
the big moment was meant to be the launch of With Love Megan. But the problem is the trailer comes out, it's trashed all over the American media, it's trashed all over social media. It becomes Netflix's most disliked post ever on YouTube, with hundreds of thousands of people saying, "Oh my goodness, we don't want this." And the thing is, you know that Harry and Meghan, you know this for a fact, Angela, we've reported on it for years, they have such thin skin. So they will be absolutely furious about this joke being made at their expense. They don't take things like this in good humor.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Netflix isn't just ignoring Harry and Meghan. They're actively promoting other celebrities like Victoria Beckham. That's right, Posh Spice is officially more relevant than Meghan Markle. Netflix featured Victoria Beckham's new documentary prominently at the event, giving her the spotlight that Meghan clearly craved. So why the shift? Simple, Victoria Beckham delivers. Meghan Markle doesn't. Victoria's brand is about fashion, success, and staying classy, even during drama. Meghan's brand? Victimhood, controversy, and endless complaints. Netflix is a business. They don't care about royal titles or sob stories. They care about views, subscriptions, and profits. And clearly, they've realized that the Sussexes are bad for business.
no, absolutely not. No, I mean, I think that's why we haven't seen Meghan and haven't, for quite a long time now, because she just hides. But she does get old friends or some people, I don't know if they're paid or not, to say how wonderful she is. And of course, Harry's been telling her how she's absolutely wonderful about this, because that's his job, isn't it? But she doesn't really believe it deep down. I think a lot of her behavior is because she is unstable about her confidence. She's not confident, and it's hard for her to accept anything that's not very simply wonderful. The rest of it, and she doesn't listen because she doesn't feel that they're right. She can't feel that they can see through some of the things she's doing. So she gets in a real state, and then up comes an idea, often not very good, or nearly always not very good, and she's happy again, very busy. I mean, how you can say, "Come into my home and here is my garden," when it's not yours at all, it's somebody who lives just down the road, is a very sort of strange thing to do, isn't it? Um,
I know she didn't even bother to film it at her own house. And of course, now lots of desperate reshooting going on because they have to try and pretend that this series was always going to be a celebration of Southern California, to try and cash in on the fact that these wildfires have taken place, which is just so awkward because actually Californians are completely disgusted with Harry and Meghan because they were
yeah,
trampling over people's houses that could have contained dead bodies. So look, I
yeah,
think the whole thing is a disaster. I have reported for a long time now, Angela, that there
me
is
too.
no way Netflix is going to renew the deal. Certainly not at any type of the figures that Harry and Meghan might be expecting, but I think probably at this point at all. Because remember, everything has been a disaster. We were meant to get Pearl the animated series based on Meghan's life, it was axed altogether. There is no success here. And the thing is, yes, Netflix is still atop the streaming services, but the streaming war, Angela, means they cannot keep throwing good money after bad. They can't do that. It's too important for them to achieve hits. So, for example, they're prepared to give lots of money to Shondaland and Shonda Rhimes, but that's only because Bridgerton was the #1 show on Netflix last year. Harry and Meghan are not even in that top list anymore. There's nothing. None of their shows are in there, so they're not going to be receiving this money. But I think for them, their pride is what is going to be so hurt by the fact that they are now a laughingstock in Netflix.
Yes.
Let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one joke or one event. This is about the rise and fall of Harry and Meghan in Hollywood. Remember when they left the royal family claiming they wanted privacy? Yeah, that didn't last long. They signed multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix, Spotify, and Penguin Random House. They gave the infamous Oprah interview throwing the royal family under the bus. They dropped the Netflix docuseries, the Spotify podcast, and Harry's memoir, Spare Asterisk. And what did all of that get them? A few moments of fame, followed by declining interest, failed projects, and now public mockery. So what's next for Harry and Meghan? Honestly, folks, it doesn't look good. Their Netflix deal is on shaky ground. Their Hollywood A-list connections are disappearing. And their brand, built on victimhood and drama, is no longer profitable. Maybe Meghan will try another podcast. Maybe Harry will write another memoir. But at this point, the public and even Hollywood seems to have moved on.
I think Netflix is behaving very well. But the fact that they're not saying anything, or they're not shouting at them, or they're not demanding what they want, not what Harry and Meghan want, shows that they're not very interested, because they just want to get rid of them. If you really cared about the people, you would absolutely, have meetings and talk about what's absolutely going wrong and how you have to change it. But if you feel that it's nearly going nowhere, you just might as well smile and not bother, because you don't want to have heart attacks shouting.
Totally, it's not going anywhere exactly, and it's going to be an awkward conversation. Now, look, you mention the growing panic in regards to Donald Trump and the immigration records, and what we have now, Angela, is new material from Suella Braverman, the former Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, weighing in on this, piling the pressure on the Trump administration to release the documentation. Remember, Suella Braverman is a big MAGA supporter. She's very pro-Trump, and this is where the mood music is going. So let me just, before I get your reaction, show you this interview. It's between Niall Gardner of the Heritage Foundation, a man we both know, who is absolutely determined to see Harry's immigration records become public. And Suella really became the most senior politician in the world to weigh in on this growing controversy thus far. Watch. So, Angela Levin, this now puts Meghan and Harry in an incredibly difficult position because, of course, they want to be speaking up against Donald Trump, but they can't.
No, it's a bit like Mandelson, isn't it, who wants to go over representing the UK to work for Trump. And he's suddenly saying, he said he was awful, now he's saying, oh, so roaring, or so wrong, it's this marvellous man. And I think that's really what they have to, they're going to try and do. They say, oh, we were so mistaken. Meghan's so sorry she didn't come for lunch when she'd, you were so close.
But is she going to be able to bring herself to do that, Angela?
No, I don't think she can. You haven't seen that of her giving in a difficult situation.
Because, I mean, others have. Mark Zuckerberg has. He's done a complete 180. There are lots of other people who've changed their position. But I think Meghan is too arrogant to do that.
Harry's changed his position, has it? The High Court taking all the money and not actually attacking. But I don't think that Meghan finds it appropriate to behave like that and actually give in. Everything that she's done is that she's made it as she wants it. I don't think if she's got a friend, that's it. But if she doesn't, then I think she just won't change and actually compromise and apologize. She's just not made like that, is she? It's, you know, and poor old Harry, and people would hate it, but they always ask me nasty letters if I say poor old Harry. But actually, you know, he's got to sweat about this. He's panicking, isn't he? He got no work. He doesn't know what to do. So the only thing he can do to get rid of it is to try and blame his father. Whereas Meghan doesn't really want to blame anyone. She doesn't get rid of her own anger. She just cuts people off.
You can only play the victim card for so long before people stop buying it. And I think we're finally there. So what do you think? Is this the end of the road for Harry and Meghan's Hollywood dreams? Was Netflix right to mock them publicly? Or do you think they'll manage a comeback? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.